Melissa here from GirlGoneFishing. My tournament season is over for the year because it's mid-November, and I'm at that point in the year where I start thinking about what can I do to make next year even better. So one of the things I do each year is think about what tweaks I can make for my Hobie Lynx Kayak to make myself more efficient on the water in a tournament, you know, because efficiency equals more fish. Now honestly, I'm at a point in my fishing where one fish is like, wah, you know, but I want to get better, and so I want to keep improving, and this is one way that I think I can do it. But before I make any changes, I wanted to document my current setup. So let me walk you guys through my 2025 Hobie Lynx Kayak setup. The thing that makes this kayak so special, in my opinion, is it is high performance. It does like so well in the water. It's fast, it's agile, the turning radius is amazing, the stability is amazing, and 47 pounds without anything on it. I think the cornerstone to any setup is going to be the H-rails. So you've got the two side H-rails that you can put all the accessories on, and I've got a front cross rail. Now, when I first got this one, it was back in, I think, 2021. Strictly Sailing Kayak guys actually cut this down custom for me from an Outback H-rail kit. But now there's plenty of options out there, you know, on retail. I believe it's 21 inches across there, but that is crucial to hold my Garmin. So I upgraded a couple years ago to a Garmin 106 SV with the 56 GT transducer. Let me show you it is a beautiful big screen. I have a little bit of trouble with my eyes, and that 10-inch screen and the 56 transducer really helps me be able to see beautiful side imaging, down imaging, and it sits on a Yakutak base on my cross rail right there. So also on that cross rail, I have a mount for if I want to use my 360 camera, my GoPro Max, I put it on a mount there. And on this side, I have a Yakutak Roto Grip paddle holder that I use to hold my net. I used to put my net behind the seat, but I didn't like reaching back there when I needed it. So it's right here, ready to go. This year I also tried out a straight-handled net instead of the Yakutak leverage landing net that I've always used, and it worked okay. I do miss the giant basket of the Yakutak leverage landing net. It's even bigger than this one, a little bit deeper, and so like I could hold the fish off to the side better in it while I got my stuff ready, but I land fish better with this net, so I think I need to just learn how to use that, or learn how to use the other one. Okay, going down the line. This is my Mirage Drive, which I always anchor to my front crossbar because you don't want your pedals sinking into the deep. Oh, this is something new this year. The way you're supposed to attach everything on the Hobie is to these little bars. See how that little bar down there? I put on these zip ties this year. I always fought at the ramp to get these on and off of these little bars down here. My fingers would be too cold, or there'd be sand in there. So by putting on this zip tie, I have 100% eliminated that stress at the ramp. It's fantastic. I did the same thing on the BlackPak for my rudder pull rope. You're supposed to clip the rudder pull rope here, but then it's pulled tight through all this mess. So I just clipped it on this zip tie, and then your rope is easily accessible. So I put zip ties there, I put zip ties here on these clips, because it was the same thing. You had to clip these to these little bars, either in the morning or the end of the day. I couldn't get them unclipped, and I would fight with them, and it just made me so frustrated. These 100% settled the problem. Okay, moving down the kayak, we get to the Hobie horizontal rod stagers. These are really great rod and paddle holders, especially for the Lynx that doesn't have a lot of storage like on the deck. So I think these were designed for pro anglers to actually go like this inside of their boat, along the inside of the wall. But they work so well like this for my Lynx because there's not really anywhere else to put your rods, except you can put rod holders on your BlackPak. Well, but then they're sticking up. What if you want to go under a bridge or under some trees? You can dump all your rods onto here, pile them on there, put this across there, it holds them on. It is really nice. One of the coolest things with it I've found is that when I'm fishing, often you have like a topwater and a finesse, or a bottom and a crankbait, and you're trying to figure out the pattern. You can put the ones that you're switching between here, so it's real quick to just drop and grab the other one. So I really like those. Little plug for my buddy Brandon Palmer's Little Miami Outfitter fishing rods. They are really nice. I've got 2 of them and really like them. So the big one back here that does a lot of jobs for me is the Yak Attack BlackPak crate. I have the big one, I think it's 16 by 16, and it has a lid. I used to use the Hobie H crate, which is a perfectly great way to like hold your battery and hold your tackle boxes, but once I saw there was an option with the lid, I was like, heck yeah. Now it's not guaranteed to be waterproof, but I gotta say I found it to be quite water resistant. It keeps things a little more organized. Things aren't gonna blow out. So in here I keep my tackle box, my terminal tackle box, spare cords for the GoPro, my Hobie polarized floating sunglasses, a little emergency first aid kit, my what is this? Oh, this is my fishing licenses, boat registration, things that if the cops pull you over you need. And I always have an extra emergency sunblock just in case, because I'm Celtic, so I burn. And of course my battery, got this from Strictly Sailing Kayak, amped outdoors. I have loved this thing since I got it. I really hesitated with it because it's large and heavy, but it has done everything. It powers my Garmin and my GoPro and sometimes my phone. So one of the really cool modifications last year that the guys up at Strictly Sail and Kayak helped me with was this. They drilled holes in the BlackPak and put plugs for the SAE connectors right here on the outside, which was really cool because I didn't have to get in here and mess with the connections inside the BlackPak. Like, they are just done and set, and this is the plug I need. The problem came with, this is where the cart goes when I'm carting down a path, like the cart post sticks up here, and it would knock the plugs out. So one of the changes I'm gonna make is to move where those holes are, but it was such a cool idea. It could even be on the outside here, but just not right there. But man, it was much better than having to dig in here for plugs. So the BlackPak has optional rod holders that you can bolt on here, and I put 4 on the back and 4 on this side. I can't put any on the other side because of my camera setup, and the rods would just be in the way of the frame. So that's my rod setup. And then you can also have more in that rod holder there. One change I made between last year and this year was storing my cart when I'm on the water like this. I used to do what they recommended, to put it upside down right here in those holes so that the wheels would sit like right here, but it's too crowded. Look at all that stuff. Look at all those wires. That's where I want my lunch cooler to go. Lunch cooler sits really well right here. So I didn't want my cart there. Turns out there's all this unused real estate back here that I've been trying to figure out what to do with. This is the answer. So the only thing I had to do was remember to put the rudder pull cord over the cart. Otherwise you can't pull. Okay, moving along this side, I have my GoPro. That is the Yak Attack boom stick mount on a lock and load base. So it just comes out like this. Yoink. And then goes on like that. It's plugged into my battery right here through the SAE USB adapter. It goes into there. I'm going to do a whole separate video on the GoPro situation because people ask me a lot about how I film. So I am going to make a separate video about the things I've learned about GoPros. For right now, we're just going to show them out and move on. Now, you wouldn't think this little bin would make such a difference, but I love my Hobie little utility bin here. So I can change out my lures and just stick them in there, stick a granola bar in there. I am constantly dropping little drop shot weights and stuff in there that you don't want to lose. And it's got a retractable thing in here that you could put a clipper on or something. So that is a handy rail accessory. So this is my over the side transducer mount from Yak Attack. I have messed it up by taking out these 2 screws and losing them. So it's supposed to give a little more stability so it doesn't turn, but I just straighten it out. I'm gonna find something to put back in there. That was my own stupidity, but it goes down over the side, does stuff. I can move it up when I'm launching or if I'm super shallow, down to operate. This was the first year that I actually had working electronics, so it was so cool to start actually learning how to use them. But I'm really happy with my Yak Attack mount. Don't know exactly what it's called, but I'm gonna put links to all this stuff in the description on the video. So next up, another little thing that you really wouldn't think mattered all that much, but it does, the Yak Attack cup holder. So another little thing that you wouldn't think makes that big of a difference, but I don't want to go out without my Yak Attack cup holder. It holds a cup, obviously. I've also used it as like a muffin holder when I'm lucky enough to take out a nice warm muffin in the morning. And staying hydrated really helps your actual thinking, you know, your mental sharpness and your physical health, of course. So having a drink in front of me like this makes me think, oh, I should take a drink. Because otherwise, sometimes you get really wrapped up in fishing and just forget about it. So I love having my cup holder, and then I don't have like a water bottle rolling around on the floor under my feet. One of the things I'm learning from my years on the tournament trail is decluttering the deck of my boat really helps me with efficiency in tournaments. And efficiency means more casts, which means the potential for more fish, which means more trophies. I've only got one so far, I need more. And one of the things that has helped me start to learn to be more efficient is organization on the deck of the boat. Because the way the Lynx is set up, everything is on the deck. There's no inside storage. You can't put it in the hull, put it in the hatch. So everything has to be out there under your feet. And if you want to be able to stand up and move around and deal with emergencies, like when the fish is on the hook, you want everything in its place and out of your way. So that is what I really focused on in 2025, and I'm going to get even better at it in 2026. But that's why these accessories meant so much to me this year. I finally learned the really value of having these things in their places. So here's my Ram Quick Grip phone holder. It is a really nice phone holder. It stretches out to put your phone in there, nothing in its way. So when I'm out on the water, I use my phone a lot. I often use it to run Navionics, like a contour mapping software, and I also use it to control my camera through the GoPro Quick app. So I'm using it a lot, and the battery drains. I have an iPhone 14 Pro Plus, something like that. I had to get the big one because it had the best camera. I'm a photographer. I love being able to take good pictures with my cell phone, but it is giant, and so it didn't fit any of the phone holders I could find. So I finally found this Ram Quick Grip that was big enough to hold the phone, but it doesn't hold it if it has a mag charger on the back. And the people at the Apple store told me you're not supposed to plug your phone in to charge it anymore. They said plugging it in actually kills the battery. So I've been trying to do the mag charger on the boat, but like I said, I can't use the phone holder with the mag charger. But a phone holder is great because it gets the phone up off the floor, and you know where it is when you need it. When you get a fish, it's keeping it up there off the wet, and you can look at it. Although honestly, in the sun, I can't really see my phone screen anyway. So, okay, moving on. So I'm always trying to find better ways for storage, and I went on Amazon and I started looking through things available. I don't even remember the brand of this. It was some off-brand, but I really, really like it. It just bungees to your seat, it zips, water runs out of it, and right now I've got I cannot go fishing without my flukes, and I love the spike it markers, so I've got my whole set in here. Oh, so this is pretty funny. My over-the-side transducer tends to loosen, you know, from doing this, which is totally normal. And it was a crisis for a while until I Googled it, and they said, get a 5/32 Allen wrench. So I've bungeed it to my seat, and a couple times a day out on the water, I end up putting it in there, just give it a little tight and twist, and everything is good to go again. It's not moving. So I love having that there. It was such a problem for me until then. Like I would be fishing and this thing would just be up here like flop, flop, flop. But now, problem solved. See, this is what you get with experience that I'm very slowly gaining, and it's super exciting. This is another storage thing that I just love. It's really a necessity for the Lynx. So the Lynx comes with a little seat back bag, which is great. In there, I usually have my emergency bug spray and my emergency sunblock, just because I never want to be out there without either of those two things. But here we have the Hobie seat back bag. I've done something to the zipper here. I'm a little hard on stuff, but I've had this bag for 5 years now. So it has served its purpose. It has a little key holder here for your key. So as part of my routine, as soon as I go to lock my car, I put my key on here and then I put it in there, and I feel like it's safe. So we have a bag here, a little inside bag. Got my sunblock. So two of the things you're in trouble if you find yourself out on the water without is a sunblock and a lip stuff. You know, my lips just get sunburnt and so painful out on the water. So this is one of my new favorite things. I found this on Amazon too. And then on my seat back, I have a couple of scissors and these things attached to it. There's actually one of these on each side. And I have found this to be important and very helpful because there are emergency situations or pressure situations where you need to cut something quickly. Like your lure's stuck somewhere and you're in current and your kayak is going to be put in a precarious situation where you don't want to be sideways to the current, because you can't get your lure unstuck. So you need to cut the line quickly and free yourself. And that's when you need to be able to have a cutting tool right there at hand. So at first I put these. So at first I made sure I had these everywhere, but then it turns out that's not always good enough. Like if you are stuck on a rope, like I pulled up an anchor once, like a literal anchor, and I didn't have a way to try to cut it because I'm trying to like saw through the giant anchor rope with these little things. So now I have scissors on each side of my seat too. It's really helpful for, just tying on lures and stuff. But when I'm in those situations like, oh my gosh, I've got to cut this quickly and got to get myself free and out of this situation, it is really invaluable to have these at hand, know where they are. And by attaching them to my seat, I can't lose them or misplace them. So a life jacket or PFD, personal flotation device, is mandatory on my tournament trails that I fish. Every tournament I've ever fished, it's been mandatory that you have a life jacket on and closed properly to be in the tournament. After a couple months of wearing it, you really start not to notice it anymore. And I'm talking about not notice it to the point where I had it on and I was at the boat ramp and I had to get the wheels out from under my Hobie. So with it on, I went underwater and poof, with everyone waiting at the boat ramp in line to do boat ramp stuff, I'm standing there with my life jacket poofed out around my ears, blocking everyone. It was really embarrassing. And to rearm them is like $90. So that was an expensive mistake, but it's good to know that your life jacket works. So when I first started doing kayak bass fishing tournaments, I bought a traditional life jacket and that worked fine. But as I did it more and more, it's kind of hot when we're out there on the water. And I wanted something that touched me less. I wanted more airflow, less stuff on me. So I went with the Mustang inflatable, and I got an HIT inflatable, which there's two types of inflatable. Well, at least two, there might be more, but there's two that I was considering between. There's one that you actually have to pull the cord to inflate, and there's one that is hydrostatic, meaning it senses the pressure of the water. So if you're under the water, it will poof and float you to the top of the water. And I really like that. At first I was afraid that, in the rain it was gonna poof, but it didn't. So I rearmed it twice. Next year, maybe a new one will be in my future, but I still have total faith in this one because I poofed it twice now, rearmed it, and it works for me. This is a kayak cushion. That's kayak and cushion, both with a K. And again, I'll put links to everything in the description of this video. But they have one of these. A lot of people have them on the back of their seat and the seat part. They come in firm and soft, and you can get any design you want on them. So of course I'm representing Strictly Sailing Kayak, but they really make your butt and your back happier. Not that the actual seat is uncomfortable. It's mesh, it's nice, but it's not padded like this. Check that out. And what's really cool is you can take this cover off, wash it, and then put it back on, all clean, ready to go again. And we can't forget the Rogue tethers. I have so much of my stuff on my kayak tethered so that it doesn't end up in the water. So this is where I put my phone. I have so much leashed and it saved me. You don't know how many pliers I dropped in the water before I got some that had this little loop here, and I put it on a Rogue tether and clipped it to the boat. All right, lip grippers. I don't use these most trips, but if you catch a catfish or a pike, or you get something caught on a crankbait where you can't get your thumb in their mouth, that'll save you. Also clipped on there. Over here, I've got my catch board clipped on another tether. These are what we measure our fish on in kayak bass fishing, and it's metal and it's heavy. So clip it on, clip the pedals to the boat. Everything is clipped safely. So the last thing I want to show you is something I actually bought off a Facebook ad. So LIV Fishing has been running these ads about storage bags and rod covers. Every time I go through my Facebook, I see these ads, and I just took a chance and I ordered some because they looked like something that would work for my Lynx underseat storage. I'm always looking for something that'll go under there, but all the things that are set up to hold stuff under the seat are heavy, and I don't want any more weight on my Lynx. I'm already struggling to lift it up to get off the cart at the boat ramp. So when I saw the ad for these bags, I couldn't resist. And I was very happily surprised to find out they came, and they're perfect. So here they are. What I really like about it is they're almost the perfect height, just a tiny bit too tall, but they smush down. And check this out. You pull the cord and the lid opens from right here. So if I'm sitting in this seat, I can just pull it forward and get out what I need. See, that's what I mean about the deck is too cluttered. So this season I used one bag for trailers and creature baits and one bag for worms. So it worked out really well. There's even room like on the sides for the big worm bags, and they handled these. I use these high-techs for trailers, and they just don't fit in a lot of things. So that worked out great. So the only negative was right away this pulled out of the other zipper. So I don't have on that one anymore this cool pull down and back together thing, but that's okay. We can pull two separate zippers. It's still pretty cool. And it has like a little magnet here, so it keeps it closed. Check that out. Well, there you have it. That is my 2025 tournament setup for my Hobie Lynx, and I was pretty happy with it this year. It was a huge upgrade from the setups I've had in the past. I'm really narrowing down what I like, what I don't like, and I'm really excited that just a few small tweaks are going to make things better for 2026, and I am so excited. So a huge thank you to Strictly Sailing Kayak. I got about 90% of the things on this Lynx and the Lynx itself from Strictly Sailing Kayak, and they have helped me a bunch with like wiring and some modifications and stuff, and they're going to help me some more for 2026. They don't know it yet, but they have been super helpful. Plus they do a lot of sponsoring with my tournament trails, so great for the tournament community. We really appreciate them, and I really appreciate you guys for watching, all the support. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for following with me on the 2025 tournament season. It was a year of progress and learning and fantastic experiences, and I cannot wait until next year. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful winter, and I will see you on the water next time.